The following is a CryptoCurrencyWire audio production. CryptoCurrencyWire is one of 50-plus trusted brands from the InvestorBrandNetwork, IBN. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, InvestorBrandNetwork uses its network of more than 5,000 key distribution outlets, as well as other corporate communication tools, to introduce public and private companies to a wide audience of investors, consumers, journalists, and the general public. Our reputation for highly efficient communication strategies is based on the experience and relationships our team has in the space. It is InvestorBrandNetwork's unwavering commitment to connect the investment community with companies that have great potential and a strong dedication to building shareholder value. The following interview may feature a client partner of InvestorBrandNetwork. InvestorBrandNetwork may have been compensated for the production of this interview. Please be sure to read our entire disclaimer for full disclosure.
Hello, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a really special treat for you today, and I'm so glad that I get to be your host, Jonathan Kime, Communications Director, to introduce Andy Flury to you, what he has to say about cryptos and trading. So, Andy, how are you doing today?
Thank you. Doing very well. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. It's been a great week so far. Looking forward to the rest of it. So, my style is to go straight into the questions, so let's go ahead and get started with the first one. What are the challenges with using crypto exchanges for trading?
Sure. Very happy to talk about that. I come from a traditional trading background. I was a manager at a hedge fund for many years, traded derivatives and equities and FX. And then with our company AlgoTrader, we got into cryptos in 2017, so just at the beginning of the crypto hype. And for us, we were used to connecting with banks and brokers, all through standard interfaces, typically through FIX. So for us at the beginning, connecting to crypto exchanges was quite a challenge. Because there is no common standard. Every exchange has a different API, different standards. So that was challenging, and that still is challenging. And even today there are over 350 crypto exchanges around the globe. New one pop up every day, and really only the top 10 large fiat crypto exchanges are capturing, the larger part of the trading volume, and that's really what we focus on. And I think that's also what most other people's focus on. Now, when you come from a traditional trading space, the challenging part is, or the big difference is, that you have to deposit your assets at the exchange before you can trade. And that's not the case in the traditional trading space, right? You typically work with a broker, you have your assets with the broker, and you trade many exchanges around the globe with one account. And in the crypto space, you have to manage your assets. You have to move your assets from one exchange to the other. Now, with cryptos, that's easy, right? You do a blockchain transfer that takes anywhere from a few seconds, minutes, depending on the blockchain, to up to an hour in times of network congestions. So the crypto part is easy, but the fiat part is a nightmare. I mean, any of you that have transferred, let's say US dollar from your bank account to an exchange through the SWIFT network, that can take days, that if not longer. And during that time, you don't have access to your funds for trading. So that's the big challenge. There are some initiatives to improve on that. Some vendors are now working on off-exchange settlement, basically where you keep your funds within custody, let's say at Fireblocks or at Copper, and you can basically transfer your funds within the custody network to the exchange, trade, then move it back all instantly. So there is, something on the horizon, but there is still a lot left to do, and especially for retail traders, it's still a very cumbersome process. If you trade at any of the larger exchanges like Binance and Bitfinex and Bitstamp, you have to get used to the user interface, right? They all look a little different. They all have their peculiarities. So really, it's quite time consuming to trade cryptos today. And then obviously there is the fundamentals, right? I mean, trading Bitcoin and Ether is easy, but there's so many other tokens and so much fake news on those, pump and dump schemes. So it's easy to get lost and make your bets on the wrong coin. So getting access to relevant information, that's still tricky today.
For sure. And as a cryptocurrency trader myself, I just accept all of those things. So what are the alternatives?
Well, so happy to elaborate on that. So trading crypto exchanges, that's obviously what most private individuals do, but there are definitely alternatives. If you are a larger trader, if you're an institutional trader or a crypto fund or something like that, then you would probably trade through a broker. That has a lot of advantages because you basically trade multiple exchanges through that single broker. That broker will also make sure that if you place an order that you're actually getting the best price. That's called a smart order router. So the broker will take your order and send it to the exchange that has the best market conditions. These brokers also do a lot of other services like borrowing and lending, for example, staking. So it's like, a boutique service that provide more than just the trading. So brokers is one option. The other one, there is one more option, but not really applicable for private individuals. It's market makers and OTC desks. They're kind of similar to brokers. They provide large orders, block orders. So if you want to, for example, place an order for $50 million worth of Bitcoin, you wouldn't go to an exchange, right? The slippage and price impact would be too huge. So you would go to an OTC desk or a market maker, and they will work through your order and give you a good price on that. So you got your brokers and market makers, and then the last option, and I think that's a really interesting one, is DeFi and liquidity pools, right? And that's a new topic that has only really gained popularity this year with Uniswap and SushiSwap, and I think that's a new and very elegant way for private people to trade cryptos without having to trust central exchanges.
Yeah, let's dive into that topic just a little bit more. Most of our audiences are familiar with trading stocks, and they might have bought some Bitcoin or Litecoin through an app like Coinbase. Makes it fairly easy. But as far as getting into the trading side, this is just really, really fascinating. I'd just like to know a little bit more about the DeFi aspect. We talked about liquidity pools and decentralized exchanges just a little bit off camera before we started. So let's dive into some of those topics. We'd love to hear anything that our listeners should know.
Yeah, sure. So, if you are familiar with trading and how exchanges work, for decades, exchanges have been using order books. different variations, but in essence, it all works the same. You have a huge order book where orders come in and then they match against each other. And if they match, you get filled on your order. So for decades, this was it. There was nothing else. And here comes DeFi, and someone, I don't actually know who it is, came up with an idea on how to approach this from a different angle. So with DeFi, and specifically with those liquidity pools, there are no order books. So basically, how it works is that people invest into the liquidity pools, and they deposit reserves. And there is one pair of reserves for each traded pair. So for example, Ethereum and Tether. So people can deposit reserves for Ethereum Tether, and then when trading happens, they actually get paid a fee. So it's actually quite an interesting investment opportunity to deposit into a liquidity pool. Now, the advantage of this is, with order books are very sensitive to latency. I bet a lot of people have heard of terms like front running. And this is something order books are very sensitive to. Now, with liquidity pools, that doesn't happen. There is no front running. Latency is not that big of an issue. It's not really possible to get in front of somebody else's trade. So it's a nice and elegant way of approaching trading. And the other big advantage is you can do this from your wallet, right? You have your MetaMask installed, ideally with a ledger, a nano, or a Trezor for security, and then you trade the liquidity pool directly from your wallet. So you're not, trusting a centralized exchange. It all happens through smart contracts in an atomic operation, and that means, either your order goes through successfully, or it does not at all, but it doesn't get stuck anywhere in the middle. So this has gained traditional or incremental momentum. I think right now over 1.3 billion are locked into DeFi, into those liquidity pools. So it's definitely gaining momentum. I think we're still at an early phase. I expect quite a bit more innovation to happen, probably new variations of liquidity pools. So a lot is definitely going to happen. One thing that people need to know is that right now liquidity pools only really work for anything that's Ethereum based. So either Ethereum against an ERC20 token, or one ERC20 token against another one, but not for Bitcoin, and also definitely not for fiat. So if you want to buy Bitcoin against the US dollar, DeFi is not for you.
For sure, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of regulations we see with stable coins and other ways of representing the US dollar to get around some of these challenges of melding the old world with the new world. What are some things that our traders and investor audiences listening today should know about crypto derivatives?
Yes, that is another interesting topic. Same as liquidity pools, crypto derivatives have gained a lot of momentum, especially in 2020. That usually is a sign that the market is maturing, that more institutional investors are coming in, especially hedge funds and asset managers and banks. So why is that so? Let me maybe elaborate on how a hedge fund works. A typical hedge fund trades many different markets, equities, bonds, fixed income, and now also cryptos. So for a hedge fund, it's usually easiest to use futures, because futures, around the globe, they always work in the same fashion. So for a hedge fund, it's very convenient to use futures. Also, very often, large institutional investors will use options to hedge his portfolio. Now, an option is like an insurance, and that's probably the main reason why derivatives have gained so much traction this year. What you need to know in trading derivatives, I mean, those are leveraged products, meaning that you can actually lose your money much quicker than with any spot crypto. The other aspect, I think it's a really important one, is if you open, let's say, a futures position at, let's say, BitMEX, that position is locked into BitMEX. You cannot take it out. And so if you want to move it, that future position, you basically got to close it at BitMEX, sell it, and then transfer your assets and then open it again. So essentially there is a big counterparty risk. You're again trusting the exchange. If you're buying Bitcoin against the dollar, you can transfer dollar into the exchange, buy Bitcoin, and then move the Bitcoin out again. But with derivatives, that's not the case. As long as you have your open position, you're bound to the exchange where you opened your position.
Got it. Wow, this is so much. I do have one more question, and then I'd like to get into your business and what your platform does. So going back to just traditional finance banks, what's the bank's role regarding digital assets, whether it's cryptocurrencies or other forms of digital tokens?
Yeah, very happy to elaborate on that. As I mentioned, our company, we got into cryptos over 3 years ago, and what we do is we help institutional players like hedge funds, like banks, to operate their trading operation. Now, what's interesting is, and there's a bit of a difference between the US and Europe. Here in Central Europe, Switzerland and Germany, digital assets have gained a lot of popularity amongst banks. Here in Switzerland, we actually have the first 2 pure crypto banks since last summer. In the meantime, quite a few other banks have launched, some crypto-related offering, and I think this makes a lot of sense. What has a bank always done? A bank has always been safekeeping assets for clients. That's what they have been doing for hundreds of years. And today, I think a lot of younger people do have cryptos already. They have it somewhere on an exchange or a USB stick, and that's not safe. There have been so many hacks of exchanges, and I think it's very natural for a bank to offer safekeeping of those assets, for the people that already hold them. We're very pleased to hear that also in the US, the OCC now allowed for banks to offer cryptos, and Kraken, actually the first crypto exchange to receive a banking license. That's awesome, big news, right? We weren't expecting that. We were expecting, one of big Wall Street banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, to receive the first license. But no, it's a crypto exchange that got the first license. So we're really excited about that. So I think, in the next few years, crypto is going to become mainstream amongst banks. One day, I believe, most of the banks will accept cryptos, but not just that. I think the big topic is digital assets, right? A few years from now, every type of asset will be tokenized, company shares, real estate, art, and you'll be able to trade that through your bank account and potentially your smartphone, your social media account. So, value will be having value, investing, transferring value will be much more integrated into our daily lives than they are today.
Yeah, we can clearly see that future coming now. I've been to so many different cryptocurrency conferences the last 2 years. It all started as we were going down from the mountain of 20,000. Of course, we're climbing back up again, and everybody there would be talking about it, but you'd never hear anything like this in traditional media. Now, with all the different news alerts we have set up, I'm hearing about it almost on a daily basis. So exciting times for sure ahead. How does your platform tie in for our listeners today outside of your institutional clients?
Well, most of it is focused on institutional clients. We do have a few retail clients, but usually with larger accounts, typically above 1 million. It was just a strategic decision that we took a few years ago to focus on the institutional side, because it's kind of difficult to capture both, the retail sector with limited feature scope, user-friendly interfaces, and the requirements for hedge funds and banks are very, very different. So we kind of decided to focus on the institutional side.
Excellent. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that those listening that might be interested in using the more robotic trading software and other features that you offer, they know if it's right for them. But either way, the information provided today in such a short amount of time is just really extraordinary. We're so glad that you took some time to join us. Thanks so much. We'll definitely be getting this out to many of our different audiences, as well as to our syndication partners, to get as much reach as possible. We definitely want to do that favor for you and your organization. And of course, we only hear good things about what you're doing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and wish you a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
This audio interview is an original broadcast provided by CryptoCurrencyWire. CryptoCurrencyWire, CCW, is a CryptoWire news and content distribution syndicate that provides access to a syndicate of wire services via InvestorWire to reach all target markets, industries, and demographics in the most effective manner possible. CryptoCurrencyWire is another brand under the InvestorBrandNetwork. InvestorBrandNetwork may receive payments for corporate communication relations, as well as various press releases and social media solutions provided to its clients. You should assume that officers and directors of InvestorBrandNetwork or financial analysts mentioned hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities for their own accounts. This interview is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, or should it be construed, as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with the registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This audio interview by InvestorBrandNetwork is not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from featured company and other sources, but not verified nor guaranteed by InvestorBrandNetwork as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see our full disclaimers and disclosures at InvestorBrandNetwork.com.